In spite of what's happening, you're never thrown off center. You always bounce back. You can't, meditation doesn't make you inflexible. You don't want to be rigid. If you're rigid, like a tree in the storm, if it's rigid, it will get broken. A tree needs to bend, but it can afford to bend only if it's rooted in the ground. So centering is having roots in our hara, if you like, and this is the key to being in the world for me, staying in touch with your center, but still allowing yourself to participate in life, to be moved by life.
So when I hear you, meditation is not only possible in a home or in a meditation place, but you can actively practice it during your daily life, when you're going in a train or
absolutely
whatever activities you do.
Yes, and there's tiny little techniques, just like remembering to breathe in the hara, for example. Most of us breathe up here in the chest. You notice if you're a bit nervous, the breathing tends to be shallow and up there.
I understand that besides all the more active forms of meditation, you're also teaching a lot of the traditional Buddhist techniques again, Vipassana.
Well, yes, the main method I mentioned to you.
And coming back to the old traditional
methods. Yes.
How did that happen for you?
Well, because it's become my own love. As I said, I constantly experiment, but now I'm doing this more passive one that includes watching the breath. And I found more and more that whenever I have time to myself, I just want to sit and watch my breath. And my ideal would be to go away and do a retreat for a weekend for myself, which I intend to do. And I thought, well, I want to start introducing groups. Perhaps there's other people who feel like me, that they'd like to just have a weekend of being quiet. So my idea is to have a group, and there'll be one in Den Haag in December, called The Essence of Meditation. Yeah. My idea is to have several hours a day where we'll be doing the traditional sitting, watching the breath, and then walking around in a circle for a few minutes every hour in the Vipassana way, to have that meditation, but the day beginning and ending with some active form of meditation, for the reasons I said earlier, that most of us can't just be still at will. So first of all, we'll be throwing off any mental or physical or emotional tension, and then it'll be much easier to do Vipassana.
Yeah. So in the weekend you'll do a combination of the active meditations and the silent Vipassana meditation.
Right. My idea is to start the day with dynamic, then we'd have breakfast, then Vipassana until lunchtime. After lunch, maybe a little bit of what's called gibberish, which is a verbal release, just speaking nonsense sounds. Then more Vipassana. And then towards the end of the day, the method called Osho Kundalini, which is a more gentle way. It's called the sister meditation to dynamic, a way of, again, releasing stress.
For who are these weekends meant? Is it for people who are just starting to meditate, or is it for people who are advanced already? How do you look at that?
For both people.
For both.
It'd be a great way for someone to start as an introduction to meditation, because as I say, they'd have an introduction to both elements, and there's no need to do the whole weekend. They could just jump in for, say, Saturday, and if they discovered they absolutely loved it, they could do Sunday as well. Or if they have a shortage of time, they could just do one day. And for people who are seasoned meditators but would just love to have a day of going in, it's perfect also.
Yeah. Traditionally, meditation for ages has been something very strong for men, but it seems nowadays even more women are attracted to meditation than men. How do you experience that?
Well, I think women probably always were attracted to meditation. It's just historically they've been dominated by men and been made to stay in the house, and it was the men who, in India for example, took off after they'd raised their family and had a job, took off and went into the woods and could become holy, while the poor women were still left at home taking care of the kids or the old hens and chickens. But in my experience, women have a natural propensity for meditation. Women, or more accurately, the feminine psyche, because of course men have a feminine component too, and I find the men who are attracted to meditation tend to be men who are more in touch with their feminine side. But we all have both elements in us, a masculine and feminine component, and as I say, people who are in touch with that female side of them are the ones who tend to be attracted to meditation, because it is introspective. It's for people who are interested in, who feel perhaps there's something missing in the outside world, that it's juicy and fun and fulfilling to an extent, but it's not everything, something's lacking. It's those sort of people who have a sense that the outer is not everything that are drawn to meditation.
At the moment you're traveling a lot around over the whole world,
yes.
Guiding meditation group. How is your experience with people who are into meditation now and 20 years ago? Do you see any changes?
Not really. They tend to be people from the age of 25 to 65. I think that the questions people are asking, or the issues people have with them when they come to meditate, are perennial. Questions like, who am I and what's it all about, and how can I have a meaningful life, and why aren't relationships giving me all I thought they would? Those sort of questions have been with us forever, I think, and invariably people will come to this point, I think, where they find that the answer lies inside, in ourselves, that unless we know ourselves, as Socrates says, unless we be thyself first, unless we are ourselves, we don't have a basis on which, a strong foundation from which to live our lives. We can't know other people, let alone love other people, until we know and love ourselves, and that's essentially what meditation offers.
Yeah. Osho was also heralding a new dawn, a new time to come, a new man to be born. Do you see over the last 30 years anything changing in this direction? Is there more people open for are there more people open for meditation, and is there a global awakening evolving?
Look, I spend most of my time in Italy because it's very active as far as meditation goes. And yes, there are something like 68 Osho meditation centres in Italy, and they're on the increase, they're flourishing. Yes. And I do know that Buddhism, for example, has become very, very popular in the Western world. As I said earlier, I feel it's lacking, the Vipassana technique is lacking the element of activity, and I feel Buddhism can become just another belief if people get caught up in all the dogma without having first really found out for themselves. But it's a good thing. Yeah.
In the meantime, it's 16 years ago that Osho left his body.
16, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
When I count right.
Yeah.
And how do you see Osho's work developing? Is the interest in Osho increasing, or how do you see it happening?
Well, as I say, to judge by the life of meditation centres that I visit, yes, Osho's work is very much happening. And I know in Pune, which is where his meditation resort is, that it's not only surviving, maintaining itself, but actually becoming more and more juicy and enlivened, that just as he anticipated, many people are feeling to go there, and not only go there but connect with him and meditation through what we call taking sannyas, which is becoming a sannyasin, than were in when he was in his body. So the resort is really thriving. Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I would say I wish you a lot of success with all the groups you perform, all over Europe and the world, and maybe we see you back in this program.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Maneesha.
Prem Buddha. Thank you.